So the wife went shopping today and left me at the house to play by myself. That usually gets me in trouble. I've always wondered if one of these would be handy or not, and how well they're made and how well they work. So I got one, and we're gonna see what you can do with it. So my big thing with one of these was I always wondered how well they was made, how much they could handle weight, how well it would work being just a pivot swivel and not having a way to control the rotation. I've just had a lot of things I wondered as whether or not it would work. And so instead of putting this behind my big truck, because most people don't have a flatbed like I do, I chose to use the old white truck. I scared the dog. I choose to use the old white truck because you know, if you got an old pickup truck like this one that's kind of beat up and has seen better days, but you want to be able to use to work with, this is a good example. And if you got a newer truck that's in better shape, well, you ain't got to worry about it. This will show you how that works too. There is a problem that I ran into with this truck, and we'll talk about it, is it's almost too low for the tripod to work like it's supposed to. So I almost need longer arms, shorter legs, or another pin position. Now I figured out a way around that, and I'll show you guys how that works. And then we're going to take this thing down, and I got some axles I need to move because we're preparing to tear the old church house down, and I could move them with the tractor, but we're going to see about moving with this because not everybody's got a tractor. So let me show you what I got here. So you may notice that the angle of the crane support to the hitch is running uphill to the crane. And everybody say hi, Duke. Say hi, Duke. He thinks I'm kneeling down here and he wants to play. So what I did is I got everything loosened up as far as the arms on the legs here. And just to let everybody know what I'm talking about, I'm calling this an arm and this a leg. But what I've done is I got them kind of situated in place to where these were unpinned right here. And then I took a ratchet strap and I took the legs and ratchet strapped them together until I could get the pins in. And so you can see how I done that. So to release, I'm going to have to take the pins out and then slowly release the ratchet strap. Probably not ideal, but most people trucks sit a little higher than this old truck. Now there is a couple different pinholes for the feet where they can slide out, and then obviously there's a couple different pinholes there where you could get the legs to come in to make it stand up higher. So if your old truck and your hitch is higher than this truck, well, you're in good shape. The good news is that it actually keeps the truck from squatting very much when you go to set the thing in the bed of the truck, because the cranes help holding up the back end of the truck. So it kind of makes everything pretty solid. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. I've got good contact with the ground, let's just say that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen this whole menagerie up and then take it down there where the axles are and put it back together, and we're going to see if we can move an axle with it. Okay, so one of my concerns is okay, well, how do you move this thing? Do you have to disassemble this and throw it in the bed of the truck in order to haul it to where you need to get to? And I'm going to tell you, some of these parts, once you get it all assembled together, is not light. The pivot and the crane itself with the hydraulic cylinder, that's the heavy part. And so to get it assembled the first time to get it in the hitch of the truck, I don't recommend putting the thing together and then trying to put it in the hitch of the truck. You're going to put this piece in first, then put your boom and everything on, or put your crossbar on, then set the boom on. I put it together all out here in the yard first. Bad idea. I learned my lesson. Although later on, trying to get that thing back out when you take it off the truck, that's going to be a challenge. So I've got these arms unpinned, and probably for transport you just unpin the legs and the arms all together. I throw them in the bed of the truck. Keep all your pins and stuff where you can get to them. They do come with these keyways on them. It's real easy to take out. And of course it's a thinner metal, but it doesn't feel too bad. It's not super flimsy. I think it's plenty strong enough for what you're doing with it. If you listen to the ratings on this thing, it's not designed to pick up more than 1,000 pounds. Now, will it do it? I don't know, probably. Should you do it? Listen, I know how it goes, guys. When you're out working, you're not weighing stuff, and I'm probably the same kind of guy that's going to try and pick up 2,000 pounds with this thing. I'm not saying it's a good idea, but I don't know how much these axles weigh that we're about ready to go pick up. So I doubt they weigh 1,000 pounds because none of them are like a one-ton axle. But just work it. You'll know when you put some load on it if you're used to doing that kind of stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'll take my little, by the way, they send this with it. It's kind of nice. So I've got my pin in it there. I'm going to let the hydraulics down on it. Yep, and rest like that. Get it all folded up there. I've got the pin in it right now, but I didn't put the keeper. I'm going to put the keeper because I don't want to bang my truck up. I know she ain't pretty, but she's still a nice truck. And so these pins right here, that one's going to be cantankerous. Pop those out. And then you can slide this whole mechanism in. Like that right there. I missed the hole, I think. Nope, I put it clear on the other side. So you could do that. It's still hanging out. What I'll do is, I wasn't thinking, I'm going to take this, clears the truck bed still, come over here and I'll put the pin in this side. And there. Now it's not so out of balance. I'll put my keeper back in there. Okay, so there's that. And I don't think it's going to slip out any because there's no holes here. Maybe later on I have to drill in some holes here, but you're taking away strength by doing that. But if I just put one of these pins in here, it can't go anywhere. And even if it made you feel better to try and haul it, you could scoot it back out that way until it hits the pin. But I don't think that's going to go anywhere, and it doesn't stick out past the end of the truck very much. So there it is. That right there should ride down the road pretty good. And I'll get you guys a real good straight on shot from the back end with that. So get it moved here. A little bouncy. There you go. There's what it's going to look like packing it down the road. And if you wanted to put a strap to kind of make sure it stayed put, you could do that to keep it from flopping so much. And we'll even do that just for giggles because I've got this strap here that I use for the legs. And what I'll do is I'm going to go down here and I'm going to hook the chain hook for it, and then I'll pull that in like that. There. Oh, that tightened that up a lot. So the only twist now is in the hitch itself, but that right there is not going to flop any. Plus, that would actually keep it from sliding that way too much too. So I'd say that right there, yeah, that's nice. That actually works out better than I thought it would. I will notice that some of these aren't fully welded all the way around, like there's no welds here and no welds here. But these welds right here should hold, and this is for your strengthening piece to keep this from bending. So, but the welds on it, like that weld there looks good. Looks like it's got good penetration. I know when you're buying some of this stuff that's obviously a little cheaper. I say a little cheaper. I can't remember how much this thing is, but it's like 230, 250 bucks, something like that. But you got to think you're buying an 8-ton jack and then all this metal and the hooks and everything like that. So I think for what you're getting, it's cheap. Because ain't nothing cheap anymore. But that'll ride like that real good. We're not going but down here in front of the church house. So yeah, that's how I would pack it down the road right there. Okay, so we are set up. I did use the ratchet strap. The downside is this foot right here didn't want to stay flat. It kind of peeled up a little bit. It'll be all right. It's staying put. So I got everything together. I'm gonna go ahead and leave the ratchet strap on there just for extra strength for the so I'm not putting all the weight on the pins, even though they are pinned in. And it is running a little uphill to get to the stand from the hitch of the truck. Like I said, this truck sits a little lower. If I wanted to, I could make myself some longer braces for the legs. There's options. You can always modify stuff. I might modify this thing more than that. We'll see. But now I'm going to drop tailgate, spin this thing around, and see if we can't load one of those axles up. All right, for giggles, I'm gonna get one more of them because I'm finding better ways to do this. The strap they sent with it is nice. I think you can get more done with the ratchet strap unless you've got something that you can absolutely sling better with. If you're trying to move stuff around like this, you're just gonna have better shots with a ratchet strap getting it hooked where you need to get and everything. That's my opinion, of course. I have no data on that other than my opinion. Everybody say hi, Duke. Hey, buddy. All right, so final thoughts. That really wasn't too bad to get those in there. Yeah, it took a little bit of time. It took some moving stuff around. It took some getting some linkages right. I figured out that this thing's nice, but man, a ratchet strap is just so much better because you got more control. You can pull almost like having a winch cable. Anyways, I used the old white truck because it's a standard pickup truck, doesn't have fancy flatbed like the Duramax does, and this right here is typically what you could do with your pickup truck if you bought one of these cranes. Now, here's my thoughts on the matter. Was this reasonable for me to do? If I was going to pick these up someplace out somewhere traveling, yeah, this would be great. Way better than manhandling by myself, because I can't pick one of these up and just be too much wrestling. If you had somebody to help you, maybe 2 guys could throw them in the back of the truck, but I really didn't feel like I had to work real hard at it all. Yeah, I had to move stuff around and jack a hydraulic cylinder, but as far as the physical struggle, I wasn't struggling. So that was nice. Around here, I would just use my tractor. But if you're going out traveling someplace to pick up something heavy, you need to swing over into the back of the truck. I think that's a good buy. If you don't have a tractor and you need something to move stuff around on your property, I mean, let's say it costs 300 bucks. It was 200 and something. Let's say it costs 300 bucks. For 300 bucks, this will save you trips to the chiropractor's office. And I never felt like it was so flimsy it wouldn't lift anything up. As a matter of fact, right now it's holding the whole back side of the bed up with them outriggers because it's setting up too high. I need to fix that if I'm going to use that with this truck. I need to make me a couple more pieces out of square tube or something. But anyhow, I wouldn't be afraid to purchase one of these if this would help me out. I don't need one because of the other stuff that I have available to me. But then again, maybe I'll end up going and getting something in the bed of this truck that I'll use this to lift it in there someplace, and I can't take a tractor with me when I go. So I think for, we'll call it $300, I think it's a good buy. I think it could be useful. I don't think they're the one thing, now I'm gonna pick on it a little bit. The pivot being out there where it's at, yes, it clears the truck bed and everything. I would really like the pivot to be a little bit more this way, maybe just barely clear the truck bed. Now I know the truck bed's going to be different, but the problem is when you get to where the center of that thing is, over here, it's not really in the bed of the truck, it's more on the tailgate. If you had a longer arm on it, but then you wouldn't be able to pick up the kind of weight. So that's a battle. It would be nicer to be able to sit it like in the center of the bed, swinging around and sit in the center of the bed. And I get the issue with that. You know, these are not made out of super strong steel, and if you got way out there, you wouldn't be able to pick up 500 pounds. We're actually at the 500 pound pin right now, I believe, yes. So if you look at the pins, and I'll show you, let me turn the camera here a little bit. This pinhole right here will lift 1,000 pounds. This will lift 750. This will lift 500. Obviously, this is the handiest one, being all the way out. But if you needed to pick up something you could get right up against the tailgate and get it over into the truck, you could pick up 1,000 pounds with this. I think they use brake fluid in the hydraulic cylinder because where it rests here, the paint's peeling a little bit. So it's like a brake fluid in the cylinder, and I think some of it leaked out the seal a little bit and got on this. But outside of that, I think it's pretty handy. I'm glad I got one now. So, all right, so we're done with that, guys. If you like this video, let me know in the comments below. If you don't like this video, let me know in the comments below. If you like the way I review stuff, or you want to see me do something different with some of the stuff I've reviewed, leave it in the comments below, and I'll try and suit your needs to see if you want to see if this will do something else. Other than that, I guess we'll see you on the next one.